Real quickly before we begin, I want to thank this video's sponsor, CarMarshal.com. CarMarshal.com can save you lots of money on buying used or new vehicles, cars, trucks, school buses. If you want to save money, I'll have a link in the description down below. I know I'm going to
19 questions Mark Zuckerberg strangely couldn't answer during his Senate hearing. Here are all the questions Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg backed out of or couldn't answer during his Senate hearing this week. By J. Sermopoulos, April 11, 2018. Washington, D.C. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg looked uneasy as he gave testimony for 5 hours on Tuesday before 44 U.S. senators. Wednesday, he appeared before 55 members of the House of Representatives regarding the role of Facebook and to how the company can address consumer data privacy concerns in the wake of the Facebook/Cambridge Analytica scandal. The New York Times reports that Zuckerberg has trained for weeks to face the 3 congressional committees in the 2 separate hearings on Tuesday and Wednesday, but he was clearly unprepared for a number of questions directed at him by the members on Capitol Hill, some of which required technical expertise and specific figures that the Facebook CEO was unable to provide. When pressed for an answer, Zuckerberg on Tuesday relied on a number of variations of "if you'd like, I can have my team follow up with you after this," without ever actually committing to provide a response. The Business Insider put together a list of things Zuckerberg was unable to answer and agreed to follow up with senators about. A list of applications that Facebook has previously banned because data was transferred in violation of Facebook's terms. Senator Chuck Grassley. The number of audits Facebook has conducted to ensure deletion of improperly transferred data, or anything about the specific past stats, that would be interesting. Senator Chuck Grassley. The number of accounts linked to the Internet Research Agency, a pro-Kremlin propaganda group, that Facebook has taken down. Senator Dianne Feinstein. Whether any Facebook employees worked with Cambridge Analytica while the data analytics company was working with Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. Senator Maria Cantwell. Whether the feature for adults using Facebook Messenger on Android to opt into using the app in combination with messaging and allow Facebook to collect data about their calls or texts holds true for minors as well. Senator Roger W. Wicker. A detailed explanation of whether and, if so, how Facebook tracks a user's internet browsing activity even after they have logged off of Facebook's platform. Zuckerberg said that Facebook uses cookies for security and ad measuring purposes, but that he wanted to be precise in his response. Senator Roger Wicker. How Facebook discloses to its users the tracking practices that take place after users log off. Senator Roger Wicker. Whether the specific unverified divisive pages on Facebook that Leahy displayed during the testimony are groups created by Russians. Senator Patrick Leahy. A breakdown by state of the 87 million profiles Facebook estimates to have had data swept up in the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Senators Amy Klobuchar and Dean Heller. Heller asked for Nevada specifically. Whether there's overlap with the 126 million users who may have seen content shared by Facebook groups associated with the Internet Research Agency and those affected by the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Zuckerberg said that an investigation was underway and that Facebook thinks it's possible there could be a connection. Senator Amy Klobuchar. Whether it's possible that the data Cambridge Analytica stored is in Russia. Senator Amy Klobuchar. An explanation of how Facebook treats data on devices not logged into it. Senator Roy Blunt. Whether Facebook's bug bounty program will address impermissible sharing of information and not just unauthorized access to it. Senator Jerry Moran. Why Facebook moved for the dismissal of a discrimination lawsuit against it that argued that its tools allowed advertisers to not target certain groups, including people of color, for some housing and employment opportunities. Senator Cory Booker. How long Facebook keeps users' data after they delete their Facebook or Instagram account and whether that data can sit in backup copies. Senators Dean Heller and Cory Gardner. A breakdown of the principles that Facebook will use to guide the development of artificial intelligence practices, details about those practices, and how they could help users. Senator Gary Peters. A list of the firms other than Cambridge Analytica to which Alexander Kogan sold the Facebook user data he collected. Zuckerberg identified Yonoa but said there may have been a couple of others. Senator Tammy Baldwin. More information about how Facebook is accounting for organizations based outside the U.S. when providing transparency about political ads. Senator Tammy Baldwin. Whether the government or federal officials can track what a person's doing, with or without a warrant, on the social network. Senator Cory Gardner. In what was almost a foregone conclusion once these hearings were announced, there was a direct push to have Zuckerberg agree to engage in policy conversations surrounding various forms of data privacy legislation/regulation, including the Honest Ads Act, COPWATCH, the My Data Act, Senator Richard Blumenthal, and the Consent Act, Senator Ed Markey, and acknowledging that government regulation of social media is inevitable. Ryan Saavedra, United States. Heavy check mark. @RealSaavedra. Hashtag breaking, Facebook CEO Mark #Zuckerberg tells House panel that regulation of his industry is inevitable. 10:58 a.m., April 11, 2018. 59. 41 people are talking about this. Twitter adds info and privacy. A number of senators ask Zuckerberg to follow up, according to Business Insider, asking the Facebook CEO to do the following. Submit regulation proposals to prevent a monopoly in the industry, though exactly which industry was unclear. Senator Lindsey Graham. Implement a 72-hour rule to notify users of a data breach. Senator Amy Klobuchar. Discuss the details of allowing civil rights organizations to audit the companies dealing in areas of credit and housing. Senator Cory Booker. Discuss whether there should be financial penalties when large data providers like Facebook are breached. Senator Maggie Hassan. Send a Facebook representative to a meeting of chief executives and senior leaders to discuss the sale of illegal drugs online. Senator Shelley Moore Capito. Discuss creating legislation that unequivocally says users own their data and that makes a stronger affirmative opt-in requirement for Facebook. Senator Todd Young. The congressional record will remain open for 14 days after the hearings, allowing for members of Congress to submit questions in writing, during which time Zuckerberg is able to make corrections to his testimony.
We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry. I started Facebook, I run it, and I'm responsible for what happens here.
When you discovered the Cambridge Analytica that had fraudulently obtained all of this information, why didn't you inform those 87 million?
When we learned in 2015 that Cambridge Analytica had bought data from an app developer on Facebook that people had shared it with, we did take action. We took down the app, and we demanded that both the app developer and Cambridge Analytica delete and stop using any data that they had. They told us that they did this. In retrospect, it was clearly a mistake to believe them, and we should have followed up and done a full audit then, and that is not a mistake that we will make.
Mr. Zuckerberg, would you be comfortable sharing with us the name of the hotel you stayed in last night?
No.
If you've messaged anybody this week, would you share with us the names of the people you've messaged?
Senator, no, I would probably not choose to do that publicly here.
I think that may be what this is all about. Your right to privacy, the limits of your right to privacy, and how much you give away in modern America in the name of, quote, connecting people around the world.
Is it an alternative to Facebook in the private sector?
Yes, Senator. The average American uses 8 different apps to communicate with their friends and stay in touch with people, ranging from texting apps to email
to the same service you provide.
Well, we provide a number of different services.
Is Twitter the same as what you do?
It overlaps with a portion of what we do.
You don't think you have a monopoly?
It certainly doesn't feel like that to me.
Okay.
I think the real question as the internet becomes more important in people's lives is what is the right regulation, not whether there should be or
But you
not.
as a company welcome regulation?
I think if it's the right regulation, then yes.
You think the Europeans have it right?
I think that they get things right.
Have you ever submitted? That's true.
What is Facebook doing to prevent foreign actors from interfering in U.S. elections?
One of my greatest regrets in running the company is that we were slow in identifying the Russian information operations in 2016. We expected them to do a number of more traditional cyber attacks, which we did identify and notify.
When did you identify new operations?
It was right around the time of the 2016 election itself.
Mr. Zuckerberg, quite a story, right? Dorm room to the global behemoth that you guys are, only in America. Would you agree with that? What you did in 10 years.
Well, Senator, there are some very strong Chinese internet companies.
Right, but you're supposed to answer yes to this question.
Your chief operating officer, Ms. Sandberg, suggested that Facebook users who do not want their personal information used for advertising might considering having Facebook users pay for you not to use that information?
Senator, people have a control over how their information is used in ads in the product today. So if you want to have an experience where your ads aren't targeted using all the information that we have available, you can turn off third-party information. The overwhelming feedback that we get not. So we offer this control that you're referencing. Some people use it.
Facebook's view of itself has changed a lot.
Connecting to people and finding people they haven't seen in a long time, friends from middle school or high school or long-lost buddies, and just reaching out to them.
It's not enough to just connect people. We have to make sure that those connections are positive.
To see how Facebook became an election-influencing player, we went back and looked at how Facebook's message and mission has changed. 2005, about a year after the launch at Harvard and then other colleges, Mark Zuckerberg said Facebook was for two things.
One is, as you said, to look people up and just find information about people, which is actually a pretty decent resource to find stuff because people feel comfortable sharing. And another is also what you said, just connecting to people.
Jump ahead 3 years, Facebook is available to anyone over 13 years old. And now,
Facebook is about helping people share information and share themselves. Okay. Right? And for the last 4 years, what we've been doing is just building products that in different ways help people share different parts of their personality, help them communicate, share parts of their identity with each other, and just open up.
2010 was the year to remember. Facebook doesn't only think of itself as a website, but as the underlying social platform for the entire internet.
We're going to connect all of these different graphs together to form the Open Graph. And when we connect all of our graphs together, the web is going to get a whole lot better. People can have instantly social and personalized experiences everywhere that they go.
And a month later, after lots of criticism about privacy, control becomes part of the message.
When people have control over what they share, they're comfortable sharing more. When people share more, the world becomes more open and connected. And in a more open world, many of the biggest problems we face together will become easier to solve.
Then, a month later, at the All Things D conference, Zuckerberg reinforces the open and connected mission with a bit of sweat.
What we wanted to do and what we wanted to spend, a big part of our lives doing was just continuing to push and kind of build products that help people share information, build products that help people stay connected. No.
Girls?
Whoa.
Take a moment. What is it? Making the
world more open and connected.
Oh my God, it's like a secret
Cool.
cult.
In 2011, Facebook views itself as the sharing platform of the future.
I think the next 5 or 10 years are going to be about all of these different products and industries that can be rethought now that you have this base of all these connections in place for people.
The 2012 IPO marked a new platform for the open and connected message.
But here's the thing. Our mission isn't to be a public company. Our mission is to make the world more open and connected.
2013, Facebook starts to actually view itself as a player in world politics. A good player, that is.
We use things like Facebook to share news and catch up with our friends, but they're going to use it to decide what kind of government they want, get access to healthcare for the first time ever.
From 2016 to today, Facebook began to see that with great power comes great
responsibility. Responsibility. We have a big responsibility to make sure that these tools are used to create the most benefit for people around the world. And we will do our part, not only to ensure the integrity of free and fair elections around the world, but also to give everyone a voice and to be a force for good and democracy everywhere.
In 2017, Zuckerberg officially changed the Facebook mission to
bring the world closer together.
And finally, 2018, Mark Zuckerberg testifies before lawmakers on Capitol Hill, making it clear that Facebook can't just create the tech tools.
It's not enough to just connect people. We have to make sure that those connections are positive. It's not enough to just give people a voice. We need to make sure that people aren't using it to harm other people or to spread misinformation. And it's not enough to just give people control over their information. We need to make sure that the developers they share it with protect their information too.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I just wanted you to know that I am using this stuff under fair use. And also remember to like and subscribe this channel. Also too, keep in mind I do not make any money on YouTube. This is 5 hours work a day, you know, fighting for freedom. And you can donate with PayPal and Patreon. I just want you to think about this. If everybody gives to PayPal and Patreon, Patreon is every month. Actually, PayPal you can do every month. I have 12,000 subscribers. If everybody gives, I can quit my regular job and go full-time investigations on Charlotte County and possibly even more and beyond. So just keep that in mind. If everybody helps out, I can go full-time doing this. Thanks.